Hi, and welcome to the TargetedWest.com show. My name is DJ Chris. I'm your moderator and host tonight. We're a peaceful group of work group folks that get together to discover not conspiracy theories, but technologies of the fourth industrial revolution. A lot of technologies that can actually hack your brain, like we have these terrorists in our brains that hack us. Today is show number 86. It is the 12th of November, 2023, and it's beautiful and 69 degrees here in beautiful Lodi, California, and I have a returning guest with me, Monica, who experiences workplace harassment, and we're welcoming her again to talk about more of what she discussed from her previous interview with me. Hello, Monica. Come on in.
Hi, Chris. More than harassment, it was workplace violence of the worst kind imaginable.
Wow.
Anyway, yeah, it was, what you could actually call male toxic inferiority. I mean, it was ridiculous, and it was awful, awful, awful. Anyway, let's see, I got a serious reprimand back in February of 2011, and it was all based on a lie. They had no proof of evidence of an alarm that, my supervisor called in, and I had to chase it down and fix the problem, which there was actually no problem at all. It was a lie. So anyway, my life on the job got worse and worse and worse. These guys were awful. Nobody wants a guy like that in your house at all, and so forced to resign in June, hostile work environment, under duress, and I viewed most of my people out there like family members. We worked well together. So I thought about it, and I had 180 days to file for an EEOC lawsuit, or, civil legal rights to a civil procedure to sue my employer. So in November of 2011, I hit the city clerk and recorder's office and requested about 1,000 documents, and they were all workbench sheets, and I requested them uncertified, knowing exactly the caliber of men and women I was working under, and through 6 decoy documents in there, knowing for a fact they would end up missing, and they did. And so right there, I was checking out, is there criminal malevolence here? And yes, it was. So the city clerk and recorder, when I took him out, thought it was pretty funny. She says, I wish you luck, and, she knew she was in a criminal realm, but, she thought it was funny. So on through December 24th or 19th through the 24th, I sent 21 emails into the city councils and, saying, like, this is financial theft, this is forged documentation, and the people who have high-level conflict in it failed to recuse themselves. They were in full-blown contempt of the Freedom of Information Act and Colorado Open Records Act rule of laws, in regarding public records. Now, freedom of information is precise in its verbiage, clearly anti-discrimination. Anybody can walk in there and grab a record or records or whatever, doesn't matter, whether you're a school teacher, a gangbanger, or what, anybody can walk in there and grab records if they so deem so, because that's transparency and responsible accountability. Well, this city clerk and recorder was in mass violation, felony violations of federal law. So anyway, I sent council members an email, 21 total. I sent three apiece to every council member, and there were 7. So there were 21 emails. And I finally get a call back from the city attorney, and he's whining for like, saying, well, it's your right to access, public records, and so he was way overboard, this guy was. Anyway, he set up a meeting for January 29th, January 9th, 2012. And again, this was, situation avoidance, and he was criminal, in fact, because that meeting was set up to intimidate me. There were 3 of them, and I brought my now ex-husband in with me, so there were 5 of us. And all 3 of them people were pointing their fingers at my supervisor, Jay Vansel, as the one that pulled the record. So now they're in collusion with this guy, with a known enemy of the state. And so, as I tried to attempt to get this landmark civil rights action to court and stuff like that, they didn't want to see it go to court because it'd be massively damaging to a number of reputations that were fake in the first place. So that was January 9th, and then, again, they came in, and they came in at the certified level under a woman named Deborah Kemp. And, on some of these certification levels, they can be, matter of fact, criminal, because there's different grades of certification and stuff like that, it's happening in Maricopa County. They had some good testimony on how there's different ways to certify them to, commit more fraud. And so I tried like hell, because being the plaintiff, it was my burden of proof to bring the documents forward, to, get the civil procedure activated. And they were not going to let me have the information at all because they were in criminal contempt of the rule of law. This was regarding an act of domestic sabotage that occurred at a wastewater plant here in Grand Junction on January 28th and 29th, 2011. It was a major sabotage. There was no mention in my reprimand about, pretty much putting 60,000 residents in jeopardy or anything like that, or because this anaerobic digester has explosive potential. It produced 120,000 cubic feet of methane a day. So the further I went and the harder I tried, the worse it got. I filed a letter with Colorado Consumer Protection, and if they, the Stop Fraud, Waste, and Abuse program, and had they been real consumer protectors, they would have sent a team of compliance auditors in there to inspect the documentation at City Hall and at the plant. So I tried, I had a meeting scheduled in early March, and I knew he was going to devil me again, that city attorney and his group. This was in mass violation of EEOC laws too. And so anyway, the harder I tried, so I finally felt on March, that I was being gang stalked, and I was. And so I flew out of my house. I wasn't safe in my house trying to get this case together, and I went to my brother's house in Larimer County. And so anyway, I was being harassed there too. They stopped at nothing. I worked across 6 computers, including the libraries. And yeah, it was, I finally had these unsolicited internet dispatches coming in, and they were basically death threats. And one came in, it was about a stripper named Delete Button, and how they found her dead in a ditch somewhere, and nobody cared because of what her profession was. She had 2 kids. And then the other one come in, and it told me I could be vaporized, and yeah, as checked up the wazoo as I am, yeah, they could do that. They can assassinate anybody, without using their hands anywhere now. And then, let's see, then I was accused of a vexatious lawsuit, and I'm kind of under the impression the only person that can activate vexatious lawsuit crap is a judge. So I had actually a judge, stepping in and obstructing a civil rights activity, and I was under the impression that the FBI was our main protectors of our civil rights. I don't believe them anymore. And then I had another one come in and said, there's certain information we don't want getting out. So I thought, wow, this is getting deep, and then Another one come in, and all of these are unsolicited. It was basically the Patriot Act, Article 702, and that one came in. The harder I tried, the worse it got. The case expired. They weren't going to see this case see the light of day at all. And this had a lot to do with the city clerk and recorder's office. And I got to tell you, when I sat in that meeting, and there were 5 of us, there was my wastewater services superintendent, Dan Tonello. There was the city attorney, John Shaver. There was the city clerk, Melinda Catapano, which is a complete disgrace to her office. That's the gatekeepers to transparency and responsible accountability. And so those are 3 names, and there are a whole much more attached to them. And so, I headed in, tried to take the case over to my brother's house, trying to get it in. Was criminally cyber attacked across the internet. And the complaint I did file with the Colorado Consumer Protection, the cyber attacks became worse. I was under major cyber attack. And this is the thing about Article 702 of the Patriot Act. It allows these people to criminally label you as something to be able to come in and backdoor their case against you. Against you, and it's known as parallel construction. So, don't think you're safe from the courthouse, especially if you got a big one. This case would have easily cost ran $50 million easy. And I was suing under the rule of qui tam for the state of Colorado. I will never look at anything in office as harmless again, ever. And so, don't make that mistake. Don't go qui tam, to set the record straight. And so the case expired on March 30th. And we hosted a biannual, we were the campground for a biannual shooting event. Well, Colorado, has been desperately trying for red flag laws and all this stuff, but we were just a campground. And so we'd go out, and there was probably a dozen of us that would go out there, but, when we came in the evening, the neighbors, wanted to party too and stuff. And so I have a hunch that they targeted all my guests. I really do. If not, all the people who participated in this dynamite shoot from Gateway. This Gateway dynamite shoot was a family fundraising event, to support the Gateway fire and rescue teams, and the school was actually involved in it too. That's where they made their money for their little school up there and stuff too. And I just felt, something was off there, and I did watch a man, just observing me really hard, and this man you got to keep in the picture. He comes in later, but I got nailed, knocked out drug in my motorhome for the 3rd time. That was the 3rd time on April 25th, 2012, and that's where I was really mutilated with microchips. They went up. I think I got a RFID right behind my nose, where they went through my top upper lip. Well, I started developing these eye pains really bad and headaches and stuff, and I went in my doctor's office and I told him, I says, I've been microchipped, and he says, no, you're not. He treated me like some, junkie or something like that. Well, I highly suspect it was a councilwoman who also served on the medical board where my doctor's practice was attached to, and I believe she got in there and tampered with my records to basically, make you look like you're, something that you're not, because on that April 25th knockout mutilation, I was actually DNA sampled, and I believe a lot of this programming is DNA related, to where, I'll feel something that you won't, if you're mutilated like that, it's DNA programming. So, and I try to go to my doctor, and then the gang stalking really kicked in. And so I was heading into the courthouse. I was going to go get some small claims suit papers, and this guy, he was stalking me on the street. Well, I shot his photograph on the street in the public place, right? And anyway, he come in there raging. I mean, that man wanted to knock me to the floor and kick me silly. And the security guard would have allowed it. Well, the thing about this lawsuit is that both the city and county are investment partners in the wastewater plant. So, the county, had high risk of being exposed to to an act of sabotage on a domestic wastewater treatment plant that treated 12 million gallons a day and had the real potential to affect, 60,000 people. Nothing in my write-up was about that. It was all about, it was a mill chauvinist that wrote that paper up. I mean, whoever wrote that paper up was clueless on what the plant operations really were. And so, okay, the case expired on March 30th, and I get nailed again on April 25th, knocked out drugged. Painful. This one was female genital mutilation to teach an uppity woman why you don't stand up for your rights in Colorado. And so the stalking was just ridiculous, man. It was terrible, and the rudeness, and I didn't know any of these people, but it was like staged, like I could hear what I was saying and where I was going and stuff. My throat was one of the main targets on that too. It was like whoever did that, this, sophisticated technology, and I have a suspicion it's Space Force sophistication and, juvenile hand. So, all right, where to go from here? I was forced to run from my home in early March, because that lawyer was not going to give, factual records out there. And I was scared. I was fearing for my life. I also went to the FBI's office in Loveland and Denver, Colorado, and, one guy in the Loveland office was kind of giggling about what was happening to me. And the Denver office, man, they were just, no, we ain't touching it, and I'm going to tell you, there's a reason why some of these people sit behind bulletproof glass, because this is the kind of criminal maintenance managers that we have working for scum in politics. We're screwed. And so I came back home on July 13th and, filed some reports or communications off to Mesa County commissioners, to the sheriff, to 2 deputies, to the district attorney, I think even Colorado Consumer Protection, trying to come in, with victims' rights, confidentiality. Nobody wants to be the celebrity of of godless rape. So anyway, how's it go from there? It was awful. Oh, it was just awful. I can't believe we got people like this in public service.
And they're all connected somehow. Is the DHS involved with that building or the facility you were working at? Because it is, and InfraGard could be involved in that building.
I don't know on the facility. I think that one probably don't have InfraGard or anything on it because it's fairly old. They probably got some of that on there now.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of cataclysmic changes going on, like our Mesa State College went Colorado Mesa University. Some of these universities, they are great provocateurs in political persuasion. So there were a lot of, and the hospitals were expanding, all of it, man, all of it was going in great expansion. Like this COVID thing was pre-planned, and the college, universities, like I said, they have a lot of psych wards in there. And James Holmes, he was a Colorado University student, and he claimed that his evil therapist is the one that programmed him. And I believe it.
I don't doubt that.
Right, yeah, he said to an inmate, and the guy's name is Steve Unruh, that he was like, it was like he was in a video game, and it's like when he come out of there, it shut off. It's hard to say what they did to that man, but yeah, I do believe his therapist was the evil therapist, because somewhere out in the abyss of too much information out there, I did read where she did have a record with the DEA. Probably overprescribing in her prescription pads or something like that.
Probably. And, of course.
Probably. But, yeah, I was nailed again out in my shop. I couldn't sleep in my house anymore. And permission for free expression on this one. Anyway, my house, I couldn't sleep in it. I was having, it was a whorehouse. It was like a Pee Wee Herman Chester molester, pervert palace of premature ejaculation, and that's exactly what it was. It was so filthy, because there were so many actors in there. And, these covert actors that come in the night and the gaslighting and all that, I just couldn't sleep in it because it wasn't my home anymore. Yeah, and I raised my family out there. It was a family place, and it was a joy house for me. And yeah, and they did target one of my children to make his record look dirtier, to like I'm an unfit mother or something like that. And I highly suspect it was the doctor, the councilwoman, the HUD woman that served on the board that had him targeted by the police department, because the men that targeted him and his friend wanted to beat the crap out of him. Those kids were terrified. They suspected them of drinking. One had an Arizona tea and the other one had an orange pop. But yeah, one of them was the high school cop too. And yeah, these things go big. Everybody gets involved. Why, I don't know. I would never do that to anyone. I'm like, hey man, that's their business, none of mine, but so yeah, I returned home on July 13th and got nailed again on July 25th, and that was just days after the Aurora tragedy. And I feel my county sheriff, Stan Hilty, had really did Colorado wrong by not taking my complaints up. My complaints, I called in one day to see where my complaints were kind of in this July, August time after being mutilated for the fourth time. And anyway, I got a hold of this guy, Deputy Espinosa, and he came back, and he came back and he said, they're well aware of your letters. They're well aware of my letters, but they will not take any victims on. So he referred me to investigator Beverly Jarl. I called her office and she says, well, didn't I interview? And I said, no. She says, well, the DEA came in and took the file. And I'm like, man, and I'm hurting. I got nailed for the fourth time, and this time it went organ reactive. They can make me vomit and shit at whim, and, this weaponry is so sophisticated, it can tear through your skin. I had 3 holes September 17th. On my leg one day from driving. I was driving off of a rural place where I go because I stay rural to keep from being attacked so hard. Anyway, this driver in a Dodge pickup came by and he shot the weaponry at me with great intensity that it was able to rip 3 holes through my leg that were roughly about 1 inch in diameter and 3/4 of an inch deep, and I could see my meat and my muscle and all that stuff, and it just melded back together.
Oh my, that's terrible.
Yeah, this is Space Force sophistication, and it finally, exposed itself. It was like they were like laser blue hues with fish hooks. And, basically like being under wireless taser assault constantly. and they could go as hard as they want. For 10 years, I have lived on a traumatic stress scale on 3 to 7 continuously for 10 years. And the temps that would come in there, oh man, I mean, it lasted, for a couple hours, and then it would start, going longer. Went from a couple hours, went to days, weeks, and months to recuperate from. Yeah, it was, woo. I mean, this weaponry should not be in adult, childlike hands, ever. Because numerous attempts have been made on my life, and I fear a doctor. And I've been able to recover from it by myself, because divide and conquer is their big thing, is isolation. So, yeah, the further it went, the worse it got. That July 25th one was the last time they came in and raped me, or, knocked me out, drugged me, and, implanted me to, organ reactive. And we're talking anal too. It's awful. They can make you vomit, shit. Basically, I thought I was going to be strangled to death numerous times, too numerous to count times.
So they made you feel like you're choking, or did you feel hands going around your throat?
No, it was like strings, like, fish hook strings, pulling on all my vocal cord and all that,
Gotcha.
and yeah, it was more like that, yeah, it was pretty awful. But they did focus on my vocal cords really hard, probably trying not to miss a word I said or whatever, because it does. It does make the victims explode, and most of my explosions are done alone. Go outside, scream or something, but they're done alone, but you're going to have a reaction from all that violence. So one day I did a sampling on, all these, I'm going to call them punctures, and back calculated it, and let's see, I was attacked in late February. That was nostril focus. Early March, that one, I think I told you guys about the ring and the yellow pustules and stuff like that. And that one had heard. The one in March or February, I was able to scrape the beans out of my nose. The one in March, they left the mark, and when I was forced to run, I think that was on May 16th, I appeared for my friend Marcia and her friend Joy, because they're Americans with disabilities and doctor drug dependent, and I mean, they were on some powerful meds and had no clue they were being attacked. I mean, they were just kind of in la la land and had no clue. And when I ran in on their apartment that day to do a spot check on them, they had the circular patterns on their nose like I did, and they were so messed up on their drugs, so messed up. There was no way I could, be logical with any of them, because they wouldn't, it wasn't there, and so I ran to my brother's house on that one, and I was going to run into North Dakota because I read on the internet that these implants were illegal there. Only to come to find out they're illegal here in Colorado and California, but, where do we go to get the proper help? I'm being attacked by Grand Junction Housing Authority now, trying to, bury me, I wish they would have. When I stood in the FBI's office, in Loveland in Denver, I had no clue what the MK Ultra program was. And had I been given a choice at that time to be suffered to the degree I had been suffered, I would have, if they would have said MK Ultra or firing squad, I would have taken the firing squad every single time.
Oh my!
That's how evil these programs are. The Frank Church Commission really didn't go far enough. There should have been arrests. There's, life in prison, and yeah, this stuff should have never ever been allowed to go deeper underground to create the more harm than anybody really knows. But yeah, the FBI, can you imagine that? Went for whistleblower protection. Thought they were our main protectors of civil rights, and their number one enemy, public enemy, was public corruption. And yet they're nothing. They're nothing like that. They're just criminal maintenance managers for low-level players in high places.
So do you still have your motorhome? Do you still have your motorhome, or do you now live in the housing situation?
Well, I lived on my money on what I had to sell my house. I just couldn't take it anymore, how perverted it was. I sold that, and I moved over to the Front Range, took on a job there that nobody could take, being gang raped all day long. I'm biometrically gang rape engineered to teach an uppity little woman why you don't stand up for your rights against big brothers like us. Jeez.
Did you ever get the V2K or telepathy or dreams?
The dreams, I kind of think they may have been my own, but the telepathy, I did have that one voice, one word, one time, and I was filing a complaint off the Mesa County Commissioners regarding what was happening, and I was struggling to find the word, and this woman's voice come in, and she said, mutilation.
Whoa.
I never heard another voice.
So they're monitoring you, remote neural monitoring then, apparently.
Yeah, but I didn't hear the voices after that again. I did have some pretty strange dreams, and they came in the powers of two, and two of them were when the war started. Two of them were, a good, beautiful serpent, sinister serpent, and it was my judgment serpent, and it had six people in each eye, kind of like you had this commission or whatever passing judgment on me. I was stripped, torn up here and there a little bit, and sitting on a concrete altar. Two of those, and two of the war. Oh, what are the other two? They were powerful, though. They were powerful. So we're kind of under this, covert war, in the wireless world, and it's kind of terrifying, that some of these people that are involved in selecting their targets work in schools, work in health departments, work in, places where children are at, I mean, it's just awful, and you want that around your kid, and yet this thing's, so you're filler in the community. Our school district out here is called School District 51. And I got to say, there are probably a great many people that are doing great work in there. But then you got a couple other role model actors like Dr. Coons that shouldn't have even been anywhere near children, nowhere near children. I filed a letter off to Colorado attorney regulators, and there's 10 members on that board. And I focused on three board members, Congressman Mark Udall, Congressman Michael Pittman, and Congressman at the time Jared Polis. He's now governor, by the way. The state governor, John Hickenlooper, also served on this board. And after my, wanted to keep it confidential communications with Mesa County, after that, with all my communications, I requested them to be made of a matter of public record. As constituents and citizens, we can request a confidentiality or public record. So, it's out there, it's in verbiage, public record, but nobody wants to touch it because it's too ugly, because it is what it is. Human harvesting and human trafficking are the worst kind imaginable. And there was a time in November 2014, did a back calculation on, did a random day of sampling, later random day of sampling, when I was getting hit, what time and how many and where at and whatnot, and I back calculated it out, and it was 5.4 million times, and 1.2 million of them sexual. And so, these people are just evil.
They hit me sexually too. Apparently, the frequency is 6.6 hertz for that, and it's part of your sacral chakra. Continue.
Right, yeah, no, I hear you about the chakras, and I think they do hit all the chakras that they can. And there's names all over our crimes. What we got is, we don't have lawless corruption, and, how do you clean that up? When nobody's held responsible and accountable for their evil behaviors, So I went to work in Denver, worked there for a year. You can't work under gang rape situation. I was sitting in a safety meeting with, I think there might have been 8 or 9 of us, and I was being physically raped with this weaponry all over the place, and what it's trying to do is spark a violent reaction, to where we violently react out, and then, oh, they're crazy, And anyway, I'm sitting in this meeting just gritting my teeth hard. I can't even focus on what they're saying or anything, but I got to tell you, man, I had a couple of dots in there, that there's a lot of damages you could do with a projector, And so anyway, the guy putting on the meeting was a contractor. His name is Timothy Longbrook, and I witnessed him out there at the plant I used to work with, and he looked at me. He had a sign behind him that said, if it's predictable, it's preventable. And he looks down at me with this smug, dirty cop. The smug, dirty cop, man. And he says, city clerk and recorders wield a lot of power. Well, yeah, you're damn right. Look what that woman did. And now we're wondering, these offices administer elections. Now we're wondering, what the hell happened to our election? She should have been dealt with appropriately. If this forged documentation was ever held to the rule of law and people prosecuted for it, that city clerk and recorder by herself would have 4,200 years attached to her. And due to the fact that they are the example makers, she should suffer that. But I threw 9 names in a computer to see if I was under cyber attack. The information was seized, and if she was to split that with the 9 members that I threw there, because she was one of them, they would all suffer 270 years. We're a lawless nation of lawless politicians, and all we're trying to do is survive. That's all we're trying to do.
Yes. Are you ready for questions and answers from the audience?
Yes, let's go ahead. Thank you.
Is there anything else you need to discuss to finish it off?
No, I think I kind of hit on the best parts of it. It's awful what we're all experiencing.
Always come back again. No worries, right?
Thank you, Chris.
Okay, let's go to. Bless you too. Let's go to. Okay, we're in open mic.
Monica.
Go ahead and ask Monica some questions. It's Q&A mode. Monica, do star 6.
Hi, Monica.
Monica, you need to do a star 6 to open your mic up again.
Hi, Krista.
Hey, you did great. I'm just so very proud of you for being a warrior and a hero for all of us. And standing your ground, being a strong woman with all of the torture and the the crimes that have been committed against you are just so horrendous. Nuremberg 2.0 is alive and well, and these people are going to meet their maker pretty soon. But I just admire your courage, your strength, your passion. Just keep fighting out there and stay strong. Don't let them break you.
They've been
get through this together,
Yeah.
But we love you. Yeah. We support you.
Love you too.
And we're behind you all day. And
thank you.
Together we stand, and divided we fall. So no matter what
Absolutely.
it is, whether it's race, religion, sports teams, colors, gangs, whatever. I mean, divided we fail. But together, if we stand together, we will succeed. And just keep that love in your heart. And you're a great lady, and you're an inspiration to us all. And for those that are scared to come out, I tell you what, that's what they want you to do. They want you scared. They want you frightened. And they just think that you're not going to say anything. So they don't have to worry about it. So they can just keep playing you along, the cat and the mouse game. But the more you get out there, the more you strive to reach out to your representatives and call and just keep trying to do it. That's what we got to do. Don't be afraid, and don't let them scare you. You just keep trudging forward, even if it's one little step at a time. At least you're going in the right direction. Amen to you, Monica. We love you.
Oh, I love you guys too. I love every single one of you. The whole wide universe sits us. Yeah. But I reached out to my Colorado Council of Attorney Regulators. These people during that time, they were 51% Democrat, 49% Republican. This is a humanitarian crisis. It has nothing to do with party. I did focus on three of them: Congressman Mark Udall, Congressman Michael Bennett, Congressman Jared Polis. And all three of them are Democrats, but Mark Udall was my primary focus, for he served on the Permanent Senate Select Committee on Intelligence, and they are the oversight of our intelligence. And I'm pretty sure he did take it to the White House, and I'm pretty sure he did come out of there totally shocked at what was going on. Anyway, he came back to Colorado, and there was an article in the Denver Post. I wished I would have cut it out, but it was regarding this, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, he said, we have the Fourth Amendment right. This is the tip of the iceberg. I don't want my legacy to look like this. I think there was another one that needed to go in there, but he declined. I believe he went to work for us. He declined to comment on human experimentation. And and his career, I'm pretty sure, took a hell of a hit over this. And I want that man to know how sorry I am for the numerous explosions I had, from the painful tortures that, cursing wherever it wasn't his fault. Wasn't his fault. Michael Bennett, I focused on him. Both Congressmen Udall and Bennett were strong supporters of the Office of Violence Against Women. And that's one of the reasons why I focused on Michael Bennett. Well, I can't say anything about that man. All I can say, when your karma comes, The other one was Jared Polis. He's our first openly gay governor. And this had to do with the emails I sent into Grand Junction City Hall regarding, the bullshit in the clerk and recorder's office. And the city manager, her name was Lori Cadrich. This is public too. Those guys terminated her and threw her out of office like a used condom. That woman had done so great work here. I mean, she got us a new police department. She was focused. She was progressive and dedicated to the citizens. And they threw her out like a used condom. And I tell you what, the broadcast on TV, I was horrified. She was terrified at what really were operating City Hall. Like I said, I mean, she was dedicated to the citizens. She was a staunch supporter and transparency and responsible accountability. Yeah, it was awful what they did to her. And, so we had 2 TV stations have her termination, and then council member Laura Luke made her snide crap in the Daily Sentinel paper about her. It was the best money we ever spent about her severance package. The best money they ever spent. And yet, they're protecting some criminally insane people that are, fear to be exposed for who and what they are. Saboteurs. Absolute saboteurs.
Anybody have a question for Monica? Come on in. Last call for questions for Monica.
Hey, Monica.
Hey.
Hey. Hey, I've got a question.
Yes.
Okay, so I wrote Phil Weiss at the beginning of the week, and I called Krista, and I said, if we could just take in Colorado, because it seems like there's a pretty good circle of people who communicate with each other, but if we could all pick one person and just write to them, and like I just wrote to Phil Weiss, I got a thing back that said, an email back that said that they received my letter and that they may be in touch, which we know just by one of us.
Right.
You get it. What do you think about that idea?
The sad thing that we have with politicians today is that they're more like prostitutes selling out favors.
They are.
But I got to, one thing with the email thing about Congressman Mark Udall, because I was looking for a hard copy. I want to get snail mailed, and stuff like that. And in my communications with the Colorado Council of Attorney Regulators, I gave them my address, and everything like that. Well, I didn't give them my email because I wanted a hard copy. Congressman Mark Udall sent his email. And, of course, it gives you this lame excuse why we can't help you. But, I sincerely believe he brought it to the higher-ups where it needed to go, and he was shafted. Royally shafted.
I don't want to interrupt you guys, but we're going to be switching over to the TI Book Club right now. But that doesn't mean you can come back in a couple minutes after 7 o'clock and continue talking. So just hold your thoughts. We're going to talk about Kathy O'Brien, who's coming next week, part of the TI Book Club. If you want to join the TI Book Club, it's bookclubs.com/TI Book Club/join/. We have 87 members now. We're reading Access Denied by Kathy O'Brien and Mark Phillips, and it's a detailed book about how they're trying to keep her daughter from her, and her biological father is trying to make Kathy O'Brien look like the bad guy. So it's a very interesting book. It talks about briefly about her abuse, talks about how she uses the pen to write down her thoughts and her memories and how it really helps her. So we're going to talk about Access Denied, and we have a recording from Kathy O'Brien to discuss that very book, and I'm going to be playing it right now. So without further ado, we're going to talk with Kathy. Here we go.
Chapter 1, The Most Dangerous Game. Wake up, Sleeping Beauty, Mark said as he gently roused me with a cup of fresh coffee. Welcome to a new day. My eyes opened. My God, did I die? I wondered, sensing the love and peace surrounding me. Mark smiled. You just switched your former existence for life, not death, and it's time you began remembering your past, he said as he strapped a beautiful watch to my wrist. Noting my wonder and surprise, he continued, now you know that I gave you the time of day. The time of day? No one had ever given me their time before. They only
funny.
took mine. And I never wore a watch before. I did not even know what month or year it was, let alone the time of day. I had no concept of time, which Mark explained I must always monitor from that moment on. A concept of time equated to awareness, and I had intense need to be aware of my past. You have to know where you've been to know where you're going, and you're going to remember everything. Mark appeared confident, emitting a sense of security while I teetered on the edge of a dangerous past. You say someone's trying to kill you. Why? I could not think to answer. I was totally amnesic. All I knew was that his life, as well as my 8-year-old daughter Kelly's and mine, were all on the line. We were in grave danger, literally dodging bullets, while I desperately sought the answers why. Absolute mind control was the only existence Kelly and I knew prior to Mark Phillips rescuing us directly from the CIA-DIA's MKUltra Project Monarch in 1988. Through a series of carefully orchestrated events, Mark cleverly maneuvered our mind control handler, Alex Houston, into a position of trust that provided him the latitude to lift us free of our existence. In addition to helping me remove a few of my meager belongings from Houston's farm in Goodlettsville, Tennessee, Mark arranged for our livestock pets to be freed from Houston's horrific abuse as well. People who abuse children oftentimes abuse animals, as though they have no regard for life at all. Houston was no exception, and Mark knew it. While Mark tended to the horses, cows, guineas, chickens, cats, and dogs, I spun the combination on the safe in the bedroom to retrieve Houston's familiar CIA diary and ledger. We left the premises momentarily undetected, and Kelly and I moved into an apartment. When my politically affluent owner in MKUltra, U.S. Senator Robert C. Byrd, and other so-called leaders of our country involved in the project realized the problem Alex Houston's bumbling had created, our danger intensified. Many government secrets and personal reputations were staked on the belief that I would never be free to recall that which I was supposed to forget. They had never stopped to consider the strength of the human spirit, the power of love, or what could happen when a man of integrity, like Mark Phillips, opened their Pandora's box of secrets. Now their paradigm was shifting, and our danger intensified accordingly. Kelly and I could not survive on our own, and soon moved into Mark's house for protection. Within days, the local sheriff where Mark lived advised him to leave town, claiming a special agent dispatched from Nashville's FBI office said the CIA had a hit out on him that had something to do with that woman. Indeed, traffic had conspicuously increased on the unmarked rural dead-end gravel road leading to Mark's remote country home. We noticed many unfamiliar faces on the road, in the woods, and even in the trees, who we jokingly referred to as the Watchers watching the Watchers watching the Watchers. Then, without warning, all of Mark's personal identification records disappeared.
Kathy O'Brien. Now we have a quick commercial to share with you, and that is from my supporter, and that is right here.
Are you a targeted individual looking for support and connection? Look no further than TIEvents.org, the ultimate event site for targeted individuals worldwide. Discover a wide range of upcoming events from conferences and meetups to rallies and fundraisers. Connect with like-minded individuals, participate in informative conference calls, and explore a wealth of resources. Visit TIEvents.org today and join a thriving community of targeted individuals. Together, we can make a difference. TIEvents.org, empowering targeted individuals worldwide.
So if you're watching this recording on BitChute, YouTube, or archive.org, or listening on Spotify, you can go to TI Events to find more calls like this. So please like, subscribe, and make a comment on those channels for me. The TI Book Club is now ending. We are going to be back next week with Kathy O'Brien live. So stay tuned for that. Tell your friends. That's November 19th. So check that out, please. And what else do I need to do? I need to turn the mic over to you guys. I think Anne in St. Louis wants to talk.
Hello, everyone.
There she goes. Come on in, Anne.
Can you hear me all right?
You're a little muffled.
Okay, let me see what I can do about that. Is that any better?
There you go.
Okay. Hi, my name is Ann. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I've been in the Targeted Individual Program for 50 years. I'm 50 years old. So I've been targeted my entire life. I was originally born and raised in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and lived there up until almost 10 years ago, and then I came to St. Louis, Missouri. I was born with a genetic eye condition called retinitis pigmentosa. And they love to take advantage of that I'm not able to see. But that doesn't stop me from being a caring and loving support person. So if you need somebody to talk to that's been there and done that, or you've been homeless before, I've been homeless before too. I'm currently technically homeless, even though I'm in a hotel right now. I've been here almost 8 months because I was dealing with housing discrimination. And that's what brought me to the hotel the last of March of this year. So if anybody else is dealing with that, I really do feel your pain and know what you're going through. If you want to call or text me anytime, 314-325-2394. I'll give the number one more time. 314-325-2394. I have the referral code for Instacart, Lyft, Uber. So if you need a ride somewhere, you need some groceries, I'd be happy to pass those along to you. Speaking of groceries, Thanksgiving is coming up. So what are your plans for, that Sunday after Thanksgiving, Mr. DJ, are you going to be open, or are you going to take that day off?
We will be open. We have Brooke that day talking about Dawkins, the band.
Oh, I love their music. Absolutely love it.
You won't love Dawkins after you hear this show, trust me.
Really?
Yeah, it's a long story, but I can't tell you anymore until you tune in on the day after Turkey Day.
Okay. Thank you for letting me get my information.
No worries. We have 1 more minute left in the show. Thank you for Monica to coming by and talking to us. We'll have Monica on again soon, next year, of course, because it's already December almost. And we're going to be having the Christmas party coming up on Christmas Eve, so stay tuned for that. My name is DJ Chris, and I thank you for watching me on your preferred platform, or if you watch me through social media, thank you again. If you need to contact me or want to be interviewed, I'm available at djchris@targetedwest.com. Thank you, and thank you for watching the recording. We're now going to turn the recording off and switch to open mic. Goodbye.